Good morning, everyone. We'll call the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection to order. We have a number of items on our agenda. Many of them are for decision-making for bills we have heard previously. But we'll start with a hearing before we go into decision-making. I'm delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues on Zoom. The Vice Chair of the Committee, Senator Stanley Chang, Senator Riviere, and Senator Kurt Favela. And in the room, we have Senator Clarence Nishihara, Senator Bennett Michelucha, and I'm Roz Baker. I'm honored to chair this committee. So let's begin with Senate Bill. Oh, I should also say I have a few other housekeeping announcements. We ask everybody to keep their remarks, if they're testifying live with us, to no more than 2 minutes. Otherwise, we will cut you off. We will have your microphones and your video muted or turned off until it's your turn to speak. And if there's any temporary glitches, the web dies, goes out, whatever, we may have to move. The rest of the deliberations of the hearing, and those will be, if we have to do that, we will move everything to next week, Tuesday at 9:30. Let's see. And note for everyone that all of the testimony and copies of the measures are on the Capitol website, which is www.capitol.hawaii.gov. And let's see. If, as a testifier, when I call your name, you are not there, we will skip over to you and go on to the next, because unlike past years, we have some pretty rigid deadlines that we must meet. So we'll have to be very efficient in our efforts. So with those obligatory announcements out of the way, let's begin with Senate Bill 1104. This is relating to Contractors Recovery Fund, increases the monetary amount an injured homeowner may recover from the Contractors Recovery Fund. This is part of the governor's package. On Zoom, I believe we have Candace Ito from DCCA, Professional Vocational Licensing Division. Candace, are you there? I think I see you.
Good morning, Chair Baker. I'm here. This is Candace Ito. I'm Candace Ito, and I'm the Executive Officer for the Contractors License Board. The board supports this administration bill, which increases the maximum amount of recovery to $25,000 per contract and maximum payout per license contract to $75,000. This bill will help homeowners to defray their financial losses. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. If you'd stay around for any questions the committee may have.
Sure.
Next, joining us on Zoom with an opposing point of view is Mr. Tim Lyons, representing the Subcontractors Association of Hawaii. Tim, are you on Zoom?
Hi, Senator. He's not present.
He's not present. Okay, members, he submitted some testimony in opposition. Any questions for DCCA from members? If not, thank you very much. We'll move forward to the next item on our agenda. This is Senate Bill 1097. This is relating to non-depository trusts, establishes provisions concerning non-depository trust companies. Iris Ikeda, are you there? Yes, I see you. Welcome. Please provide the committee with your testimony.
Aloha. Thank you for hearing this administration bill. So the department supports this measure, and this bill will actually allow for qualified non-depository trust companies to serve as fiduciary for what we think is a growing gap group of consumers who are unable to get this wealth management through a wealth management group or through a bank. I also want to note that we have licensed our first non-depository trust company, and to do that, we had to use our bank trust company laws and make a lot of exceptions. And so with this measure, we hope that we can more easily license other non-depository trust companies.
Okay.
Thank you.
I believe Iris is the only testifier. Members, any questions for her? If not, thank you very much for joining us. We'll move forward to Senate Bill 498. This is relating to cooperatives, authorizes entities having a common interest and purpose to organize as general cooperatives. We have testimony from DCCA Business Registration Division, Ty Nohara, but I don't know that Ty is on the Zoom. I don't see her. We have on the Zoom offering comments. Ty offered comments. On the Zoom, Jeff Goodwin, UH College of Trop Ag and Human Resources, offering comments. Jeff, are you there?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. University of Hawaii supports the intent of this bill, and we stand by our written testimony. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We have also joining us on Zoom, Teresa Young from the Kohala Center. Teresa, are you there?
I am.
Welcome. Please present
thank
your testimony.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me testify. Yeah, my name is Teresa Young. I work for the Kohala Center. I've been working with co-ops in Hawaii for about 10 years. This is a good bill. It's going to really help co-ops form other than the consumer or ag statutes that we have. I really want to speak though about the sacred species and the natural ecosystems language that's in the bill, because it's a little golden nugget that most people don't really understand. So I'm going to start with a little story. There's a group that came into our neighborhood a couple years ago that wanted to farm. They had a good plan. They had financial support. They had a product that had a market that they were ready to sell to. They had everything they needed. They leased some land from the co-op. They went in and failed miserably. Like within a year, they were out. And the reason they failed was because of wind. So the natural ecosystem had a big part to play in their failure. So the native Hawaiians, or really anybody who has farmed in Hawaii, knows how important the ecosystem is into being able to be successful or not in business. So the idea that we would be able to give the natural ecosystem or sacred species in Hawaii a seat at the table in decision makings within a co-op, we think makes better business sense. That it would allow, that piece would allow for a greater chance of success in the natural ecosystems that people have to work with in Hawaii, because we are so diverse. And so I'm just speaking to that one little piece, but the whole bill itself is really needed in Hawaii because we need that general co-op statute. And I wrote that, and there's been a lot of written testimony, so I'm going to stand by that. But so please support it.
We also have Addison Luck, Earth Law Center, submitting testimony and support. Jay Hartwell, Cito Meadows LLC, testimony and support. Linda Phillips, Jason Weiner, PC, in support. Cheryl Kalhani, Lupinui, the Kohala Center, in support. Micah Munitaki, Ulupono Initiative, in support. Pia Chalk, Kamehameha Schools, in support. Elizabeth Dunn and Kristen Kahaloa in support. Members, are there any questions for the two individuals that joined us via Zoom? If not, let's go forward to the next measure. This is, okay, I'm glad I have a paper copy because my computer is not bringing things up properly. Senate Bill 306, relating to the Landlord-Tenant Code, prohibits landlords from recovering possession of a dwelling unit from tenants if habitability of the premises is significantly impaired, sets a tenant's liability for rent if habitability of the premises is significantly impaired, and provides remedies for retaliatory evictions. Joining us via Zoom is Stephen Levins, who is the head of the Division of Consumer Protection in DCCA.
Hi, Senator. They're not present.
Not present, okay. He provided testimony and support. Is David Chi on the call?
David is not present.
He submitted testimony in opposition. We have opposition from Peter Davis, Hawaii Association of Realtors, and we have testimony and support from Imua Alliance. My apologies, member, there's nobody live who can answer any of your questions. So that being the case, let's move forward to Senate Bill 980. This is relating to condominiums. Requires the board of directors of a condo association to convene to consider and vote upon a request from a qualifying unit owner for reasonable accommodation to mitigate the effects of secondhand smoke from neighboring units. Provides for subsequent annual meetings or on subsequent requests if previous requests are denied. Requires notices of meetings to the requesting unit owner and the owners of certain neighboring units. Authorizes a unit owner to pursue alternative dispute resolution if a request is denied for a second time. Joining us on Zoom, I hope, is the Health Resources Administration, Department of Health, and I see Lola on the call. Welcome, Lola.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Baker and Vice Chair Bonaventura, members of the committee. I'm Lola Irvin, representing Dr. Libby Char, Director of Health, and the department is providing comments. And so our comments are from really a public health perspective, being the department that receives the complaints when someone has secondhand smoke entering into their unit. And we know that Hawaii does have a higher rate of multi-unit dwellings, and that especially during the pandemic, children and parents have been home continuing their education and their work. So we just make a response commenting on how this would offer some resolution. However, we have, and we are continuing to reach out to the Attorney General's office. We have started initial conversation recognizing that the terms such as reasonable accommodations and some other terms are broad and they are vague and they have not been defined. And so we will continue our conversations with the Attorney General's office to seek definitions on terms such as reasonable accommodation, qualifying unit owner, susceptible, and temporary. Those are items that have come up in terms of how would those be addressed. And so we'll defer to the Attorney General's office and continue to work with them. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments.
Okay, thank you. I believe also joining us on Zoom is Sonia Gupta, Maui Dental Group.
Hi, Senator. Sonia is not present.
Okay, we have her testimony in support. Is Jalen Murakami, Hawaii Public Health Institute on the Zoom?
Yes. Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair Chang, and members of the committee. My name is Jalen Murakami with the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Hawaii, a program of Hawaii Public Health Institute, and we appreciate the opportunity to support SB 980. The coalition supports all efforts to protect people from secondhand smoke, as we believe everyone has a right to clean air. I know the committee heard a bill yesterday also on smoke-free housing. And, you know, there are a number of bills that have creative ways to help these people that are suffering from secondhand smoke in their home. But really the best and only way to eliminate secondhand smoke in the home is to, you know, create a smoke-free air law that expands to include multi-unit housing, such as Senator Chang's bill SB 729. So just wanted to reiterate our support for smoke-free housing. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. We have testimony in opposition from Atlanta Dove, Honolulu Tower AOAO, from the resident manager at Honolulu Tower AOAO, from Tim Oplicella, Community Associations Institute, Richard Emery, Associate. Those were all in opposition. We have testimony and support from Lou Erdachek, Hawaii Disability Rights Centers. Some individuals in opposition: Lynn Matasau, R. Larry McGuire, Chris Wells. Individuals in support: Aurora A. Saulo, Ruben Guerrero, Adeline Porter, Sandy Wong in opposition, Alicia Ulrich in support, Nancy Thomas in support. We have late testimony from B.A. McClintock, testifying for Respiratory and Environmental Disabilities Association of Hawaii in support. Members, any questions for anyone that is with us on Zoom this morning? If not, let's go forward to Senate Bill 836. This measure is the last item on this agenda before we do some decision making. 836 is relating to long-term care insurance. Requires the 30-day lapse or termination notices for long-term care policies to be sent by certified mail, priority mail or commercial delivery service, or other method of delivery that requires proof of delivery. We have DCCA's insurance division. Is the commissioner joining us this morning? Offered some comments. I believe we have joining us on Zoom, Audrey Suga Nakagawa from AARP Hawaii. Audrey, I see you there.
Hi, good morning,
Provided
Senator.
testimony.
Good morning, Senator, and members of the committee. Yes, ARP stands on our testimony in support of this measure. We believe that we can see the situation happening where policyholders may inadvertently forget to pay their premiums or become sick themselves, and the family members are not aware of the premium needs to be paid. And so having this extra notification will at least help provide additional protection, and so that they can continue with their premium payments. So again, we support this measure. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Also joining us on Zoom, I believe, is Peter Fritz.
Yes, thank
Morning,
you, Chair,
Peter.
Vice Chair, and members of the committee. This bill was actually put forth a while ago by me after reading an article about an insured that received a notice, but he was under a disability and his son never received a notice. The insurance company claimed that the notice was mailed. He couldn't prove that it wasn't, and the end result was that the person ended up losing $50,000 worth of premiums, receiving no benefits when they applied for benefits after 6 months, and ended up on Medicare. That's how they got the benefits. It's proof of mailing, not necessarily proof of delivery. But the question is, if you claim you never received the notice, the only thing that will happen is the computer will say, we mailed the notice. And I know in my testimony, I cited examples of where the computer said something was mailed on the 17th and it wasn't mailed until the next month. So while Hawaii provides that you can designate a third-party person to receive notice, the only way it will be effective is if that third party receives a notice. And so while it's been said that this has never occurred in Hawaii, if it does occur, the consequences are horrendous. And if it never occurs, there's not much of a burden on the insurance company because they won't be mailing it. And it's just an ounce of prevention, a proactive way to protect those people that may be suffering from dementia and ensuring that the policies are not canceled improperly. Several other states have adopted this, as I pointed out in my testimony, and all of the other states to which I've admitted to practice law, New York, New Jersey, and Florida have procedures in effect regarding such proof. So we're not talking about a major burden. We are talking about being proactive to protect those people that purchase these very expensive policies. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fritz. We have testimony in opposition from Rick Sujimura representing State Farm Insurance and from Oren Chikamoto, American Council of Life Insurers. I don't believe either one of those individuals are on the call, and members, that brings us down to the end of our agenda. So let's take a quick recess and we will, let's see. Should we have a deferred, Okay, thank you. We'll call the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection to order again for purposes of decision making. We will start with this morning's agenda, and we'll run them down and vote after each measure is called. The first item is Senate Bill 1104 relating to Contractors Recovery Fund. This is part of Governor's package. Chair recommends that we pass this measure unamended. Chair votes aye. Before I say that, any discussion from members? If not, chair votes aye.
Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Misalucha,
Aye.
Nishihara goes aye. Senator Revere,
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura,
Aye.
Senator Favela,
Aye.
motion's adopted.
Thank you. Next item is Senate Bill 1097 relating to non-depository trusts. Also part of the governor's package, establishes provisions concerning non-depository trust company. Chair recommends that we pass this measure with some technical amendments that were recommended to us by our drafting agency, SMA. Any questions or concerns? If not, chair votes aye.
Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Misalucha,
Aye.
Nishihara goes aye. Senator Revere,
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura,
Aye.
Senator Favela,
Aye.
motion's adopted.
Thank you, members. Senate Bill 498 relating to cooperatives. Chair recommends that we defer this measure indefinitely. It really needs a lot of work. Even SMA was having a hard time putting the various pieces together. And since we haven't seen really an overwhelming call for an independent cooperative statute, I think this is one we're going to ask the introducer to do some more work over the interim, and we'll be certainly happy to revisit it, but we're going to defer Senate Bill 498 indefinitely. The next item on our agenda is Senate Bill 306 relating to the Landlord-Tenant Code. This is another measure that we wanted to hear to see if there was something that would be different in addition to the bill that we had already passed. However, Chair recommends that we defer this matter indefinitely because the vehicle that our committee passed, Senate Bill 35, Senate Draft 1, goes on to Judiciary and addresses this very matter. So this measure was not necessary. Senate Bill 980 relating to condominiums. This had to do with protecting against various hazards, including secondhand smoke. And everybody know the chair is very passionate about doing that. However, we recommend that this measure be deferred indefinitely because it will simply not achieve the goal stated in the measure. Because there are 65% of the air is shared between units. So it would be very difficult to eliminate the secondhand smoke, even if people smoked only in their units. The recommendation from people that looked at this carefully said that we would actually have to ban smoking to protect against secondhand smoke. And while the chair would love to do that, I'm not certain that that's a constitutional thing to do. So we'll defer Senate Bill 980 indefinitely. Senate Bill 836, this relates to long-term care insurance, making sure that there are notices. After reading DCCA's testimony and checking it out, we're going to defer this measure indefinitely because the provisions called for in this measure are already in law, Chapter 431, Article 10H. So that brings us to the end of that agenda. And we had one measure on a deferred agenda. This is Senate Bill 1388, also relating to the Landlord-Tenant Code. Extends the period for a notice of summary possession from 5 days to 15 days, requires landlords to enter into mediation and delays when a landlord may seek possession of a unit if the tenant schedules or attempts to schedule mediation requires landlord to provide the notice to mediation centers that offer free mediation for residential landlord-tenant disputes and restricts when a landlord may exercise these remedies depending on the amount of the rent. And it would repeal on 6/1/2022. This measure was previously heard by this committee and deferred to today. The chair recommends that we pass this measure with amendments. We're going to add a and you should have received a copy of the proposed Senate Draft 1 that SMA drafted for us. We added a findings and purpose section. We're clarifying that the 15 calendar day notice shall provide the address of the dwelling unit subject to the rental agreement. This conforms with the proposed language in House Bill 1376, page 4, line 3. We're removing HRS 521-68 subsection C. This language inserts a sample form of the 15-day notice, but the language about this form is also in subsection B and starting on page 3, line 16, on to page 7, line 5. We're going to clarify that if there is a defect in the notice, the court may allow the landlord to cure the defect without dismissing the action for summary judgment, trying to provide some balance. We're going to conform dates for a landlord to issue a notice demanding payment of rent or to bring a summary proceeding to start 3 days after the expiration date of the final eviction moratorium. We're going to add a definition of final eviction moratorium. We're changing the effective date to May 1, the effective date to May 1 to upon approval, and amending the repeal date to be 1 year after the moratorium is concluded. There are some technical amendments as recommended by SMA. Any questions or comments? If not, the recommendation is to pass Senate Bill 1388 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Okay. Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Misalucha,
Aye.
Senator Nishiyama goes aye, Senator Revere,
Aye.
Senator Sanventura,
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Does that bring us to the end of our agendas for today? I believe it does, and we have hearings next week.
Yeah, so we have a joint with health next Tuesday.
Okay, members, we have a joint hearing with the Committee on Health next week, Tuesday. It's going to be on video and live stream, so yes. Everybody will be able to join us. So have a wonderful weekend, and watch out for any of your loved ones you don't wish happy Valentine's Day on the 14th.
And Kung Hee Pat Choi.
Yes, Kung Hee Pat Choi. Thank you so much. We're adjourned.